Um, we're SeaCure Moving. We are New Jersey agent for Bekins Van Lines. And what that means is often people are like, oh, are you SeaCure Moving? Are you Bekins? So SeaCure is independently owned and operated by my brother and myself. We're a third generation family owned and operated company. This June will be our 45th anniversary in business. And we're an agent for Bekins Van Lines. So that means that since 1987, we've been part of the Bekins network. Bekins is actually the oldest carrier in the country. They've been around since 1891. Before they were actually vehicles, they used to move people by horse and buggy. So there's a very long history with Bekins Van Lines. I grew up going to their conferences and seminars like since I was 15 years old. I've been in this industry and around the industry, and so I know a lot of people in it, and they're the fourth largest carrier in the world. So what we are a full service moving and storage company. So full service means that we do everything moving and storage related, all under one umbrella. We're based in Ocean County. My office is located in Little Egg Harbor, and we also have another office and warehouse as well in Tuckerton. We have another warehouse up in Manalapan to serve Monmouth County, and then a flag office out in Voorhees. From, a service perspective, we probably service from, Mercer, Monmouth, and then all the way down south through Cape May. And when I say service, I mean from an origin standpoint. I do help customers if they're moving, let's say like from California and they want to come here. If I can't do it myself, then I have a network within that Bekins agent network to rely upon, reliable people to do that. So even if for some reason someone refers a move to us, whether it's local, whether it's in state, long distance, or just hopping over to like Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, we can help. If we're not the perfect fit, I have a vast network of people that I can help put them in good hands. So way in the beginning, that's my grandfather. He was a driver and then a representative for Wheaton Van Line. And what was sort of ironic is later on, Wheaton and Bekins merged. So his first job was with Wheaton Van Lines, and that's his little photo ID in his car. And my grandparents started the business back in 1981 down in Mystic Islands. There's my first day on the job with my brother. So back when corduroys were in fashion. So we were in a little storefront. My grandmother borrowed $8,000, bought one truck, and she is 51 years old. I'm 51 now, and that's when she started. So she started going out with my grandfather. And how that happened was my grandfather was working for, at the time, it was Lions up in PA. And they said, we want to open shop down at the Jersey Shore. We think something's happened at the Jersey Shore. This was the early 80s, 1980s. And he said, okay, I'll go. They sold the house. They moved down here, bought a house, got settled. And then when my grandfather left the operation in PA, their sales tanked. And his boss said, no, you got to come back. You got to come back. Come back. And he goes, I uprooted my whole life. I'm down here. I've what the hell am I supposed to do? So my grandmother said, forget him. You're doing it on your own. And so that's how we started. So at one point in time, that's my folks there. All three generations were in the business. There was a good point in time where I went off to college. I did other things. And I've been back full time with the company probably about 7.5, 8 years now. When I knew that my parents were getting ready to retire, and then my grandparents had passed away. So we're working on fourth generation. We'll see how that goes. They're turning 17. So today, here we are, 45 years old. My brother there, Ron, on the right. And that's me with one of our crews doing some move management. And right now we employ on average 36 people. I don't even know how many trucks we have. My brother keeps track of that. But we do a lot of long distance. There's probably about 3 power units and 6 trailers and 8 local trucks running around. So what we do, residential moving, specialize. Most of our work is in residential. And that could be, like I said, throughout New Jersey, across the country. We do facilitate overseas work as well, too. So someone has to come to get your goods at the house. If you're moving to Ireland, bring them back to our dock. So that way it can be put into that overseas container and it goes off to the port. So we do facilitate that as well. What we're sort of good at is definitely dealing with seniors. I'm dealing with retirees. Always in New Jersey, people look to escape New Jersey when the grandparents don't come around anymore. And they say, oh, it's time to leave. It's time to, get down to Florida, get down to the Carolinas. So we have one driver, Jose, he's dedicated, just going north and south. I have Ed, who runs east and west. And then we do a lot of moves, of course, around the coastal areas, dealing with whether it's families upsizing, people downsizing, and I'll talk a little bit about the storage scenarios. The commercial moving we do as well. It's not as heavy in Ocean County as it is maybe up in, Monmouth or closer to metropolitan areas, but we do conduct office moves frequently. A lot of employees sometimes will get phone calls from companies where they have to relocate employees. Employees now, companies don't facilitate it as much as they used to in the 90s. That one person who worked at the corporation and they made the plans. Now they tell the employee, here's your budget, go out and get some bids, and they give them a budget to move. But we are familiar with working with that scenario. So we are licensed and insured for moving and storage. So in the state of New Jersey, it is illegal to operate as a mover or even advertise as a mover if you do not have a public mover, a PN, or a public carrier PC license. We are a public carrier PC. That means not only can I move your stuff, I can carry your stuff. So we have a few warehouses that we own and a few warehouses that rent. So that way we can have flexibility, for when things change economically, things change from a capacity standpoint. But all our facilities are climate and temperature controlled, which is important in our climate here on the coast because everything is so humid. So all your furniture at home, it has a lot of moisture in it, whether you know it or not. So we like to blanket wrap it nicely. We don't like to seal it. Sometimes you'll see those new movers on Facebook and they'll put some pictures and be like, oh, we moved. And they got the shrink wrap, right? Shrink the wrap the heck out of that dresser. And they're just trapping the moisture in there and you're going to get mold and mildew later. That's why we use blanket padding to keep everything breathable. It goes in wooden containers to keep everything breathable. And that's why it's climate and temp controlled. So the same concept, like, when it's hot out in the summer and you might have your glasses on and you walk from the air conditioning to outside and all of a sudden you fog up. So that's basically those temperature changes of what can affect your furnishings and your goods. And that's why we try to stabilize that and minimize that so that, you don't create that mold and mildew. Everything is under one umbrella of liability. So the storage scenarios happen often when you might be selling your house and you listed it and it's sold really quick because the inventory is low and, oh my gosh, I got a buyer and they want me out in 20 days and it's a cash deal and your head's spinning. But you're not ready. You haven't found your new home yet. So that's a storage scenario. We call it SIT, storage in transit, which is billable by the day conveniently if you're going out of state. If you're staying in state, it's a monthly. But its point is it's all under one umbrella of liability and protection. Rather than if you go into self-storage or if you go into a portable container, those folks don't necessarily have liability for the goods. When they stay with one entity the whole time, that's when you're giving a better through line of protection to the customer. And my assistant made me put this photo in. This is just a picture of one of our local trucks parked in the warehouse where my office is located. And this was a scenario where we used the climate and temp control because we had a customer last summer in the heat of the summer. It was a 2-truck move. And in the middle of the move, pack one day, load one day, deliver the next. And the evening of loading, the wife passed away in the middle of the move. And so he called and we were like, okay, whatever you need us to do. And then he says, oh gosh, you have my wine collection on board. It's about $100,000 worth of wine. We said, so we cleared the dock. That's our receiving dock. And we said, well, we don't know. It was buried in the load. It was just professionally wrapped. So we said, okay, to minimize, let's just pull the truck right into the warehouse and keep the air running to help minimize that. So packing. So this is part of those additional services. We can perform professional packing, unpacking, put away. We often work with professional organizers and might work with other people in that process, depending how early they start. But the difference with professional packing is the materials that we use. They're triple ply corrugated cardboards. It's not the crap that you get on Amazon, not the crap you get at Walmart. Even Home Depot heavy duty used to be good until they turned around and they put those handles in the boxes. During COVID, there was a reduction in the supply chain in lumber. And so that was affecting cardboard prices. And so they got smart and they were like, oh, let's cut out the sides and everybody will think they're handles. Well, that weakens the box. So when you're moving with a professional and you have high value items or breakables and you want them to be liable for them, then you make sure they're professionally packed. Your clothes, your towels, doesn't make a difference, right? You can't break your sweatshirt, your sweater. So, but if there's things that are valuable to the picture right here in the middle, this guy, these are called dish barrels or dish packs. You can pretty much sit on those. But it's meant to withstand the rigors of transportation, that vibration and storage, because these articles have to be stacked. So how you pack your things to store them in your basement or your attic, sometimes before you make a move, those need to be repacked because they're not packed for transit. And that's the difference between having someone come by and help you and say, oh, I'll help you pack for your move.
Right.
I'll help you pack. And then that you're picking up that tote in the box and it sounds like puzzle pieces shifting around in there. You always want that cushion to help sustain the pressure from the rigors of transportation. We do custom crating because there's things like, just like this chandelier, if that had to be moved, how do you put that in a box, right? So chandeliers we will, suspend so they're not, they're hanging. That way it's braced, but it's nothing's touching it. What's in that other crate is the sailfish, and we do that on our own. This was a piece I had a customer in Avalon, and this was a beautiful custom table. Every single one of these was a tiny baby seashell, thousands of seashells. I'm like, how the heck are we going to do this? So I did it like the Ark of the Covenant. So we wrapped the heck out of the top here, and we put braces underneath once it was padded. So because you don't want to touch the actual piece and put the weight, all it's going to do is break all those little seashells. So we wrapped the hell out of it there. So it's nice and padded and protected. And then you let the padding, be the, hold that pressure and weight. And that's how it was stored. And it came out perfectly. So we do a lot of hoisting. This is because we do a lot of, again, work along these coastal areas where we have these beautiful resort homes. And the builders make a lot of reverse living. So these people want to look at their beautiful multi-million-dollar views. So we get in a lot of furniture from designers often, or even from the customer. And so they order these huge pieces of furniture. And those huge pieces of furniture cannot go up the small stairways or doorways. So we do have to do a lot of lifting and hoisting, which just requires calling in the boom trucks and we secure the pieces on and we coordinate and obviously protect the home and guide it through over the deck or through the slider, wherever the access points are. So this is more and more common at those coastal homes. So we're very experienced at that. Receiving and distribution we do. Our main clients is the Girl Scouts. Really, we're contracted with the baker. There's only 2 bakers in the country that bake for the Girl Scouts. Everybody has their preference, but so sometimes we're contracted, sometimes we're not, but we are the Girl Scouts' favorite if you do ask them. This year we did do nuts and we do cookies. So right now we're finishing up cookie time. During cookie time, we receive in anywhere between 65 to 80,000 cases of cookies. And then we need to break it apart for each council. So each, mom or head of that, group, they have their orders. So it's our crews in our warehouse that breaks that all apart for distribution. We deliver it out to them. And I mentioned designers. We do a lot of that as well too, receiving for designers. Bulky items, people ask us, do you move cars? Do you move safes? We move autos as part of a move. If you're just shipping an auto by itself, I'll put you in touch with a reliable car carrier, but we can put them on board or they can go with our carrier and we just deck over them. What you see over here, we do have equipment. It's called a stair climber. It is mechanical to help lift the weight. So you're not just carrying that 800-pound safe up the stairs. The difference also with hiring a professional, rather hiring someone off Facebook or your brother's friend, sister's cousin, is that you have home protection. In New Jersey, legal operating movers are liable for 100% of home damage. They won't run around and tell you that, but that's the truth. If I scratch your wall, I scratch your floor, and you need that $40,000 replacement of your bamboo floor, because that's what it is, that's what we're insured for. So that way, when you recommend someone, you want to recommend someone like us who is legal and who is insured, because that way the customer has that protection. You'll see we spend a lot of time protecting the home, protecting the pieces. Our fleet, we own our own fleet. I mentioned there's driver Ed there. He runs water to water. He loves going through the mountains in Colorado, and that's part of our local fleet that sits at my office there. That just means that we we maintain our own equipment. Again, you don't want someone showing up, just renting. And over here, there's Jose going on the ferry across the Delaware. Also, our teams are all background checked. They're all our own employees, not like people we pick up off the street. They're trained, they're experienced. Again, if you guys jump on Facebook, You'll get a feel for that culture. And we're definitely family oriented. I love my guys. And they know that I'll kill them if they do anything wrong. So customer satisfaction, we're silver certified, experts at moving older adults. There is a patience that comes with that. A lot of our customers say, oh, I've moved so many times when I was with the military. I moved so many times. You guys were the best move we ever made, because there's things that we do and perform that they just didn't even know were expected. So it's about being friendly, making it stress-free, having fun in the process, and trying to keep that pressure off the customer, because we understand that there's so much going on in their world. Their minds are on 3,000 different things. So we do we have processes in place to keep them on track, keep them reminding of everything, double checking on dates. When's your closing? Do you know how many people don't realize they need to be out of their house before they close? And so sometimes if they're not working with the right realtor, if they're not working with the right attorney, like, you're just making an assumption. But if you've been in your house for 45 years, when's the last time you had to get out of it? So they think in their minds, I had until the end of the day. So since we've done this for so long, we really are good at avoiding those pitfalls and guiding the customer through. Our main philanthropy is Move for Hunger, which is donate your food when you move. And so Adam Lowy runs up Move for Hunger. And so we do a lot of work transporting food and collecting food, since we have the labor and the trucks to move it from point A to point B. Good referrals for us. Almost anytime someone is moving, it's almost always associated with some other major life event, and often not a fun one. So it might be for health reasons. A person needs to move closer to a parent, or they need to move closer to their adult children. It often comes with marriage, divorce, death, jobs, retirement, downsizing, growing family. So as you go amongst your family and friends, those are the cues to listen to, because normally a move is associated with those things. Business to business, we work really great, obviously, with people in the real estate pipeline. So whether it's realtors, lenders, titles, junk removal, home inspectors, they're great partners to introduce us to. Happy to have a conversation. Home care, property management, because we are insured, there's certain buildings that won't let certain movers in, or certain movers don't have the insurances to write a COI to get into the building. So we have those insurances in place to make sure that the property is protected. We work very well with property managers. Construction, home improvement, those scenarios where people they have a remodel going on, or a tear down and a rebuild. We get everything properly inventory it, protect it, crate it, goes into that warehouse, and then we bring it out when they're ready. And if the customer wants to order some new furniture while it's sitting there, because they're ordering up this nice new house, we're happy to receive that furniture in for them as well. You don't have to be a business to do that, and then we'll deliver it to you all at the same time. Anybody who works with seniors, HR, and other movers. So that's one of our crews. You can see with the auto, there is an auto on board, and it's just decked over here. And one of the questions I think you're asking me about was pods. Do we do pods? Do we do portables? So pod stands for portables on demand. It was part of the industry where they said, okay, let's get rid of the most expensive thing in the industry, labor and liability. And so we don't supply pods. We're happy to load them, or we're happy to, normally what happens is we unload them and they go on board. From a cost standpoint, once you get past 2 pods, you might as well hire a full service mover from a cost comparison. What you're saving is if you were doing the loading yourself. So again, they don't provide much labor. They don't provide the liability. We're the ones doing the high touch. So if you need price comparisons on that, or if you need us to help you load your pod or unload your pod, we're happy to do that. So that is it. So thank you guys. I appreciate your time and attention.